podcast. My name is Sue Wedsworth, your host, coach, and professor that founded WORTHResults to help people maximize their potential and achieve what they want out of life. Today, we're going to talk about manifestations. So put away all your distractions and focus on today's lesson because this podcast class is now in session. So I was talking recently with a couple of my favorite listeners, and they mentioned about how I should do a podcast on manifesting the future you want. So here we are. Your manifesting energies worked, and I'm now talking today about manifesting the future you want. Haha. So what is manifestation? Basically, it's about bringing something tangible into your life through the process of attraction and belief. In other words, if you think about it and live in the feeling of that wish being fulfilled, then it'll come true. But it's more than just thinking and believing. If you look to Angelina Lombardo's book, Spiritual Entrepreneur, she says manifesting is making everything you want to feel and experience a reality with your thoughts, your actions, beliefs, and emotions. That sounds great. Now, how do we begin? Well, first you need to understand what you want and be very, very clear on what that is. Now, that can be a goal, short-term or long-term, or just something that you really want to happen. But whatever it is, you need to be crystal clear. So on what it is, you need to construct a picture of that happening in your mind. You need to get so crystal clear that you will be able to describe it to someone else, and it'll be so precise in detail, they will be able to picture it too. Now that you have that picture, you need to write it all down. And you write it all down as if it's already happened, and you write it with gratitude. Like you write down, I'm so happy and grateful now that, and then be very specific about describing what that has happened is. Now, why do we need to write it down? Why can't we just think about it, and why can't we just say it? Well, until you get really good at manifestation, you need to write it down, and you need to write it down in detail. See, you can't write anything without thinking. As soon as you start to describe something and write something in detail and picture it, you'll have to think about it. If you have to think about it, and if it's something that you really, really want, then you're going to get emotionally involved as you write it down. You'll be picturing it, and you'll be knowing that it's already happening, and you'll start to feel really, really good that your wish or goal has been fulfilled. Now, with that process, you'll begin to actually emit positive energy. You'll be vibrating on a frequency that is actually in harmony with your goal. So you're writing it down and thinking about how good it is that you're reaching your goal, almost so that you're going to be beaming. Now, that positive energy that you emit will be very different than negative energy, or even just thinking about your goal without really getting emotionally involved in it. But if you don't really think you can do it, then your energy is going to be very different than if you feel that you're already in possession of it. You have to really feel you're in possession of those goals or wants and write them down as if you already have it. And do it often. The more you create that emotional reaction, the more positive energy you're going to send out to the universe. Now, Semyon Krillian, he actually developed a process to photograph that energy leaving the body in the 1930s. It's called Krillian photography. When you're in a positive state, your energy, and as it's getting photographed, will look very, very different than if you were angry or upset. Think about the mood rings that came out in the 70s. It actually changed color with our moods. It actually works. So this is based on science, not myth or fad. So now we have energy, positive energy leaving our bodies. With the law of attraction, whatever is sent out to the universe, whatever we emit on a frequency, like frequencies will attract to it. So that positive frequency will allow positivity to come back to it, and that goal will then be manifested into reality. It's a universal law. It's not fiction or myth. It is scientific fact. Everything vibrates on a frequency. The entire earth vibrates and rotates. We just don't feel it because we're actually vibrating on a frequency too. The phone you're holding, the car you're driving in, they're also vibrating, but on a different frequency. Now, that frequency we call a phone or a car. So all of the frequencies are out there vibrating on their own different wavelength. You will vibrate on a different wavelength. And as you get emotionally involved in what it is you want, you will start to vibrate on that frequency. The law of attraction states like attracts like. So, and it is the most powerful law in the universe. If you vibrate, you will attract those in harmony with that same frequency of vibration, meaning you will attract the results you want. I'm going to give you a real life story that actually happened, hence the real life part. When I was selling my house last year, I was worried about how much we would actually sell the house for. Now, of course, like anyone selling a large asset, you want the most you can get for it. Now, without giving away personal details, I'm just going to use some fictitious numbers, but that'll still represent basically what happened. So let's say I thought that I could reasonably get my house sold for $12. Yes, I know, not real numbers, but you get the idea. We put the house on the market for $14. I was just being ultra conservative. My husband was hoping that we would get $16. So when he was saying 16, I'm like, okay, I'm going to start saying I'm so happy and grateful now that I've sold my house for $16, which honestly I felt was way too much. A few days later, he started saying, you know what? I think we're going to get 18. I said, that's crazy. But why not? I decided to start saying I'm so happy and grateful now that we've sold our house for $18. I would say it over and over every day, multiple times a day. I'd write it down. I was picturing the sale agreement showing $18. I was figuring out the math as to how much we would clear, all of that stuff. Picturing how we felt when we sold our house for $18. And what happened? We actually sold our house for $18 even. Now, again, there is no real reason why we should have sold that house for $18. But I kept saying it over and over, picturing it over and over, writing it over and over, feeling the excitement over and over until it happened. It was absolutely amazing. Now, I continue to use this technique for other things I want in my life, and they do come into existence. When I'm feeling down or nervous, then the results that I want, they stop coming in. If I focus on the negative, more of the same comes forward. But forgetting all that and living in the feeling of my wish fulfilled day in, day out, that manifests what I want. Now, did we actually ask the realtor that we would love to get 18 for our house? Yes. So it isn't just about picturing it. There is some action involved. But you need to put plans in place that ordinarily you would never think possible. And sometimes you have the courage to do that because you really believe it will happen. You do things and see things in a new light, and then they materialize. So think about what you want, visualize it in a very precise detail, write it down, and then recite it several times a day, writing it and saying it. I'm so happy and grateful now that, and then describe the wish or want in detail, and then somehow it comes to you. You too will get the results you want and open up that potential in you. Well, that's it for today. Thanks so much for listening. I know there's a lot of choices out there, and I'm so happy you spent your time with me. If you like what you hear, like my other listeners did, please sure you subscribe so you never miss a lesson. If you want to talk about your own story or have a specific question to be answered next time, head over to WORTHResults.com and connect with me. I would love to hear from you. See you next time.